Okay, I'd like to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters and mercy of the grand predecessors, transmitters, temple masters for giving me this opportunity to talk about this topic, which is called the golden thread. Now, okay, the golden thread it's really very narrow. It's narrow because it just implies. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us who have if we have received the Tao, we maybe during the Three Treasures or something, explanation of Three Treasures, we may have heard about the mention of golden thread, or in the Dharma class, especially in the Heaven's Grace and Virtues of the Masters class, right, the second day class, there may be a mention of the golden thread also, right? It's because it's more narrow, and so compared to the previous last class topic, the golden thread is a little bit more tangible. Okay, but actually the golden thread, besides referring to you can say the succession or the lineage of persons, of the Tao, it's also part of the greater you can say topic, which is the lineage of Tao. Okay, the lineage of Tao, because what?
Well, I mean, the golden thread also refers to there's the invisible aspect.
Yeah. Well, what's the invisible thing? What's the invisible aspect of the golden thread? It's the mandate. You can say it's the heaven's blessing, authority, or will, okay, by God. You can say by God for a certain end, or you can say for a purpose, for a certain purpose. Okay, all right. So that's part of the lineage of Tao too. Okay, because without that mandate, then the lineage would disappear, or would not continue. Maybe that's a better term. Okay, would not continue, or cannot be sustained, or would not. Okay, so the important thing about the golden thread, okay, there's the physical, there's the physical and the invisible part. Okay, so the physical part is that it is well, first of all, we call this Tao, this lineage. It's not part of any religion, philosophy, or teaching, even though it may incorporate some of that, but it's not a religion by itself. Okay, so that's important. Okay, or not a philosophy or something. Okay, but it does incorporate religions, maybe you say philosophies or teachings. It does incorporate, but it's not per se a religion. Okay, so that's important. So that's why Tao is not considered a religion per se, because it has that, we call it the mandate, and it has that golden thread. Okay, all right. So, okay, rather it's a continuation of, we call it lineage. That means it's a succession. Okay, succession of successive. When I say succession, what do I mean by that? It's generations. Okay, so from one person, one master to the next generation, then from that generation to the future, etc., etc. Okay, so it's like generation after generation. Okay, so you can say it's like our what's that they have on the web when you could trace your ancestorship? What do they call that thing?
Ancestry?
Yeah, Ancestor.com or one of those things. You can trace your lineage to, you find out that, I'm 30% Irish, 20% this, 30, whatever. Right? They have that thing. I forgot what it is called. But anyway, okay. So it's like that. Okay, there's a some distant past, right? In some distant past that we call the quote unquote the Tao, or the teaching of the Tao. Maybe that's a better term. Was started. Yeah, at some point it was started. Okay, and then that's where the mandate for the teaching of the Tao started. When I say the mandate for the teaching, remember, okay, it's very specific. All right, so you can say quote unquote that is God's will to say, okay, now's that time that we're going to have to teach people about the Tao, all right, or get people to become aware, right, that there's more than just this physical life, that there's something spiritual, that we, that our essence, that our spirit, our soul, whatever you want to call that, came from someplace. It wasn't just not in just in this physical form, okay? All right, and not in this just one life, okay? So that's where the teaching started, okay? So okay, so that's one part. That's one part of the golden thread, you can say, all right, which is that physical or tangible aspect, all right, or external. You can say external, the teaching, etc. But simultaneously, the internally or the non-tangible, the intangible aspect is that you can say that authority, that you can say heaven's will, God's purpose, God's plan, whatever, master plan, to allow that teaching to start. Understand? Okay, so therefore, then those quote-unquote masters, usually enlightened beings, then have that mandate or given that mandate to teach and to propagate. So that's okay, all right, to teach, all right, to the mission of the direct, to teach, to pass on. You can say to pass on the, in this case, a very specific example would be say to pass on the three treasures, right? Right? To pass on the three treasures. That's a very specific example. At a higher level, is to also to pass on another mandate, to be able to continue to spread, teach the Tao and pass on the three treasures, etc. Okay, so there are different aspects to the mandate, but I don't want to get into the mandate because then that could be a total different topic because there are different levels of mandates, right? We know about that from the Dharma class, right? Then we have one of those topics. I forgot which topic. Is it the lineage? The lineage of Tao?
Yeah.
No, Tao and religion. We talk about that. Right? Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter, all right? Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, and then right, the mind-to-mind transmission of the Tao, okay? Okay, so that's these are the two aspects, the two key aspects, okay, of the, we can say that lineage, okay, all right? Okay, and it's not done through the scripture, so that's very important, okay? So it's not found in some text, say, if you read this or whatever, I give you this secret text or secret scripture and then reveal it to you, and then that means you have the mandate. No, okay? Or that means that you have the Tao. No, there's nothing that, right? So example would be you got, I'll talk about later, right? The flower sermon, a whole bunch, the whole slew of examples. Flower sermon is more evident. There's the sermon from the Platform Sutra, right, where the fifth patriarch passed on the mandate to the sixth patriarch, right, all that. So all of that, but those are all not say, the master would give his pupil or his disciple, a secret text or secret scripture. None of that. It's none of that. It's outside of the scripture. Okay. So all right. So okay. So because the Tao is formless, right? Yeah, it's no, from a previous class, right? We know that, right? Okay, so we don't need to continue. So, but it has its expression or manifestation. So that's the phenomena. So we have to look at phenomena, i.e., generations of masters. We look at the teachings. We glean some of the truths of the Tao or the essence of the Tao from the teachings. We glean from it. We get you can say an idea, all right? An idea. It kind of like invokes or makes our mind, search, right, within ourselves to say, to realize the Tao, all right? Okay, but it's not the teaching. The teaching will help us, but the Tao is not in the teaching, okay, in the scriptures, all right? So it's very important, okay? So you can say this lineage, or the golden thread, in this case, right, since we're talking about the golden thread, is an example of this, okay? It's the phenomena, it's the tangible aspect, you can say, all right? Partly, okay? All right, lineage, okay, yeah, lineage, so I talked about it, okay, lineage. The lineage is usually a line, a succession or generation of, patriarchs, masters, you can say masters who are the primary enlightening masters, all right? Responsible for passing on or transmit, the teachings, or in this case the Tao, all right, the Tao the transmission of the Tao, okay, and also responsible for continuing the lineage and the mandate to problem. So that's the golden thread, okay? So that's basically what the golden thread is, specifically, all right? So it's the continuation of the mandate and and the propagation of the Tao, okay? All right? So it's it's a heavenly secret. It cannot be described because there's no set words, or it's a set text or scripture, from the very first master or from the very first patriarch that's been passed on down. There is none. Okay, there is none. It's beyond words. All right. So that's why, we'll see in the next couple pages how this quote unquote mandate or this patriarchal mandate or whatever is passed on. It's all based upon the pupils or the disciples' ability to become enlightened. Yeah, that's how it is. So if you're not enlightened, sorry, no mandate for you. No, you know what I'm saying. So it has to be dependent on the individual's enlightenment. Okay, self-enlightenment. All right. Okay. So like once again, it's not based on philosophy or a particular type of thinking. All right. Why? Because it's not written down. Right. That this golden thread, this mandate, this teaching. Even though there are teachings, yes, written down, but that in itself is not the Tao. Right. Okay. Or contains the transmission of the Tao. All right. Okay. So it doesn't belong to any particular set, even though it does, you can say, gives rise or incorporates parts, religious teachings, etc. Okay? All right. So it's different from the Confucian, lineage of Tao, and also different from, okay. So so it's, it transcends culture, natural. So it's not specific. We can say this golden thread or this lineage Tao. It's not narrow or fixed, on one culture, one race, one, gender. All right. Okay. So you can say it's part of the world heritage. Okay. Okay. So then the key is, what is a heavenly degree? Or you can say it's a mandate, right? It's the mandate. Okay. That there is a God's, you can say, will, heaven's plan, or God's, you can say, authorization. God allows it. God wills it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So that's what makes this Tao particularly, you can say, different from any religion. Okay, because from a previous class we know that religions. We talk about those different religions, Buddhism, etc., etc. Okay, Christianity, all that. Now originally, when they started, let's say during Jesus' time, during Muhammad's time, there was a mandate, yes, from heaven to say, such and such enlightened masters will be in this particular part of the world at this particular time to teach, to give their teachings, to promote their teachings. That's part of heaven's will. Okay, it's not. So they had that mandate. The question is, after them, maybe after one generation, two generations, who knows how many generations, did that mandate continue? See, that's the question mark. But now, today, we notice all religions, including Buddhism now, that the Buddhism that we know of, like, if you go to the regular Buddhist, monasteries, temples, etc., that mandate is questionable because it's all controlled now by humans. Okay, so it's based on, instead of heaven's will or God's will, it's based on now human will. You understand? So that's why religions became corrupted, because it's all based on human understanding. Now those humans may not, most likely, probably are not enlightened. So that's how come religions can be corrupted. Okay? Because it became controlled by. Now we can say, well, how about the Tao? Aren't you guys corrupt too? Aren't you guys corrupt? Well, the key is, as long as you have that mandate, that means what? During the Dharma class, if the transmitters or predecessors or whoever As long as they have that mandate, they can what? Ask for the what? Assistance or presence of Buddhas and saints to come, i.e. sandwriting or visitation, channeling, etc. Understand? So through those, you can say those tools or those manifestations, God's will or Buddha's will, the heaven's will can be expressed, right? Either in sandwriting, in words, right? To remind us that, hey, these are our problems. We better correct it. Remind us what is our, Buddha nature. What all that, right? To remind us, right? So we at least have that. You can say that's external, right? Because it seems to come from heaven or the Buddhas, etc. But at least we have the guidance of the Buddhas, or you can say God, to help us maintain our path, right? To remain true. You can say maybe true, right? To what the Tao is, right? Now, without those, let's assume that we no longer will have visitations. We no longer will have sandwritings, etc. Okay? Then how do we go forward? I mean, then it's all based on individual human, right? Human's understanding of the Tao or whatever, right? Right? It's all based on that. Now, you continue that for multiple generations, then it become a religion. Then that's how religions end up. And then multiple generations. If there are no divine, I would say divine intervention, or at least divine guidance, right? Just all based on multiple generations of human, human understanding, human involvement, all that stuff. It's very easy to see how it can become corrupted, right? Right? Over time, right? Just like that, right? That you play that phone, right? Telephone thing, right? I mean, the same idea, right? First guy get a phone message. Okay, so he memorized exactly, it's 12 words, whatever, it's about this. Then he passed on to the second guy. The second guy remember, okay, it's 12 words, but he missed but one word he misunderstood, misheard, so he used a different word. And then by the time you get the third, fourth, and by the time you get to the 50th person, the message is completely different, right? So that's how things get corrupted, right? Over time, over generations. So same thing, all right? Same thing. So the key is, as long as we have the mandate, that's very important, okay? Then the Tao will still remain true, okay? Remain true, or less likely to be corrupted, all right? Okay. But once we lose the mandate, that's when it becomes dangerous, becomes problematic. Then because maybe not right away, we won't see it right away, but maybe after a few generations, it'll be like any other religion. Oh, we have to practice it this way. That's it. That's the only way to do it. And then later on, people say, no. We could change. No, because nobody, right? Who said that? So and then just things continue, snowball, right? Okay, so the key is that mandate. So that mandate is what really is you can say, the core of the golden thread. Understand? So once we lose the mandate, then that golden thread is no longer a golden thread. It's very important, all right? Okay, now we talk about heavenly post, and that's okay. I mean, these are just terms, okay? Like, so the heavenly post of of this, we call it the white period, right? Is Maitreya, right? We know, Mila, right? Happy Buddha, right? And then the post of Tao transmission is who? Holy Teacher, right? Holy Teacher, or 18th Patriarch, right? Qigong, right? Qigong, he's the one that is involved in all matters of the Tao. Okay, so and also of all cultivators. Okay, if people, the introducer, guarantor, who are bringing people to receive the blessing or receive, holy teachers involved, right? Okay, not Maitreya. Maitreya is more on a grander scale. He's dealing with the world, the global. He's global. He deals with the universe, the you can say the the passage of the time of the universe. Okay, so like when it's time for, let's say, we call it how can that, the return, or the return of the mandate. When the mandate is no longer there, that's Maitreya's responsibility. Okay, how long the mandate will continue. Okay, that's his responsibility. Okay, that's not holy teacher's responsibility. That's Maitreya's responsibility. Okay, all right. So then, okay, we talked about. Okay, so the golden thread is what? Is started since the beginning of what we call, you're all familiar, right? The green period, right? We have the green, red, and white periods, right? So the green period. So now, before that, is there a golden thread? No, because there was no need for enlightened masters to teach about the Tao, or to spread the Tao, or to transmit, to pass on the three treasures. Understand? Because remember that diagram? Where's that diagram? Hold on one second. Remember this diagram that we talked about? Let's see, hold on. Oops. Wow, what happened here? Where's that diagram? This diagram? Remember this diagram? Right? He talked about the phases, right? I mean, this is one theory, okay? That we are, right? The humans are right here, right? Started here, right? This time frame, and then we continue to develop, to become more, more advanced, right? From maybe originally from cavemen, right? We were cavemen, right? We lived in caves. We don't know how to make fire. Then gradually we learned how to make fire. Then we started learning how to use sticks, stones, spears, tools, right? To either hunt or to plant foods. Okay, all the way now. So we're now at this period right here. We're entering this wave phase, or wave period. Okay, all right. Okay, so between here and here, this two, between the really it's in the second half. The second half is where the green period and the red period is included in here. All right. Okay, if you want to go. Okay, so before the green period, all this period here, there was no golden thread, because there were no need for masters, enlightened beings, to teach humans, about the Tao, because you can say our souls, our spirit, our conscience is very pure. Our human, you can say the nature, our human nature, not the Buddha nature. Human nature is very close to our Buddha nature. Get it? Human nature. Human nature could be good or bad, right? Human nature. You get angry, that's part of human nature. You get sad, that's part of human nature, right? Okay. But the human nature during this period, you can say the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first four periods, right? Each is supposed to be 10,800 years, right? Something like that. It's still very pure, very close to our Buddha nature. So,
Like an infant.
yeah, you can say like innocent, pure and innocent, like a child, right? Like a baby, So there's no need during these 4 periods, if you will, call this, to know about the three treasures, to have the three treasures. So when it's time to leave, right, to die, our soul, spirit, whatever, will automatically know how to go back, right? Go back to our absolute heaven, right? Or absolute realm, okay? Because we're still very pure, you can say, right? But it's after this period, what happened? Simultaneously, civilizations arose, right? Science, knowledge became more advanced, right? We start developing what? Languages here, right? Languages during not here, not the internet, but here. So we gain knowledge, knowledge, right? We learn how to use more advanced tools. Agriculture, all here. Irrigation, cities developed in this time frame, okay? During this time frame, all right? This time frame, okay? Civilizations developed, science, technology, etc., all right? So what happened? During that period, the human nature became more corrupted, became more fixated or attached to these external things like knowledge, science, technology, even arts, music, whatever, it doesn't matter. All those things, get it? To forms, attached to forms, to generalize, okay? And so therefore, the human nature became more corrupted. Get it? And so once our human nature became corrupted, we deviated from our Buddha nature. Get it? So we became separated. And so this is the period when God said, you're lost. Humans are lost, have become lost. That we have deviated or became so far removed from our Buddha nature, from our true nature, our human nature that is, okay, that we need the humans of the world to learn, quote unquote, about the Tao. Get it? To learn, to be reminded, if you will, right? That, hey, it's not your human nature, it's not the science, technology, all that fancy stuff that's going to last, that's going to take us back to where we originally came from. Understand? So that's where, you can say, yeah, in the beginning, maybe even in this period, you can say there may be religions, yeah, maybe, but I doubt it because there's no language, so it's very difficult, right, to teach. It's probably in this period here, after this period, that we have the first signs of religion. For example, Stonehenge, right? People say that's at least 5,000 years old, right? At least, right? Maybe, and then there's megaliths, all over the world, not just in Europe, but all over the world. We have big stones, whatever, that erect, people, the ancient peoples, we don't know who, they're probably long gone, erect, they worship, not worship, but they use that either for astronomical purposes, right? Some for religious purposes, right? So probably started around this time when, people trying to go back to maybe the spiritual side of things, okay? That there's an innate, craving for something spiritual besides the physical things, right? Okay, so probably, religions all started sometime around this, right? Because we have early, maybe the primitive languages started there, maybe, we draw pictures, right? We draw stone, symbols, whatever, circle, triangle, God knows what, whatever, symbols of the sun, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not a language per se, but it's, it's a representation, if you will, okay, to say, hey, there's this, so we're going to worship this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's when, all right, so, probably the religions started around there, some very primitive, some, okay, all right. Also during this period, that's why we say the green period, which is around here, around the second half of this period, we say the green period started, okay, the green period, all right. So the green period, okay, so then the green period, okay, okay, that's what this is, okay, that's right. Okay, so the green period, we talk about the Buddhas, that we don't need to talk about that because that's not part of the golden thread. It's not. Okay. So then the green period, this is where, like I say, the second half, the seventh, that's this, hold on. Of this is the seventh, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? This is the seventh Hui, okay? So the second half, okay? All right. So then there are also Buddhas. So then this is where you can say the golden thread started, okay, or commenced. It's during this green era, right? There is what we call the Dipankara. You guys know who Dipankara is, right? That's the Buddha that showed up after Siddhartha became enlightened, okay, and he passed on the mandate to Sakyamuni Buddha for the red period, okay, for the red period. What's that mean?
No, I was just testing it.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, so the Dipankara, you can say, in the green period, was the first, you can say, Buddha, the first Buddha of the golden thread, okay? Now, but don't forget, Dipankara was the Buddha dealing with what we call remember what we call it? The heavenly post, okay? But then there is also one who's dealing with this post of Tao transmission, okay? Right? Post of Tao transmission. And who was he? He happens to be right here. No. Fuxi. Okay. He happened to be the first. Hold on a second. Yeah, the first right here. Fuxi. Okay. He also happened to be the first patriarch, okay, of what we call the heritage of Tao. Okay. Now during those time, we don't have language, probably not yet then, or at least not written language. We don't have. There may be oral. They may speak things, make I don't know, sounds or gestures or God knows whatever. But so because there's no official written language yet, okay, so he used the trigrams, to represent, you can say to represent the universe, or in this case, okay, to represent the mystery of the universe, or to Tao. You can say really to Tao, okay, represent. And so from the previous lecture, right, I know you didn't go into detail, Ty didn't go into detail, but those trigrams represent, right, certain things, represent things. So it's like a language. It's like a very, pictorial language. Okay. So it doesn't matter. But so it's called the A diagram. We call it the 64 hexagrams or trigrams. All right. Okay. And the concept of yin and yang. Okay. All right. Okay. Concept of cosmos, which is, you can say it's a representation of the Tao, the manifestation of the Tao. Not the Tao itself, but its manifestation. Okay? So that's the first patriarch. Okay? And so he was an enlightened being. Fuxi. He was enlightened, so he had, you can say, God's authority or mandate to begin the teaching of the Tao. Understand? So he's the first. Now, he lived roughly 5,000 plus years ago. Right. Yeah. No, about 5,000. About more than 3,000 BC. At least 3,000 BC, prior to 3,000 BC. Roughly. Okay, so he's the first patriarch, we can say, of the Green Era. Remember, right? Green Era, we talked. Now, then there's more. That the second one is then. We don't even know how old he was when he. we don't know because back then there was no historical records. A lot of it is later on, during the Xia dynasty, when historians, made records, or one of his legacy, of Fuxi's legacy, was the I Ching. We call it the Book of Changes, right? The I Ching that talked about the 64 diagrams. Okay, all right. So there were no real words. It just like on a tablet or on a shell. Really, it's on a shell of animals or bones of animals. They're just these etchings, okay, of those, those 64, whatever, trigrams, right? Okay, hexagrams. It's only later on during this period, during the Zhou dynasty, when, where's the Zhou dynasty? Right here, Wen and Wu, that later on, because by then, they have words, they have language, written language, that they added commentary or meaning, explanation to those hexagrams. You know that? Okay, so supposedly, King Wen or King Wu are also the incarnation of Fuxi. We don't know. It doesn't matter. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. So and then then the second patriarch is called Shenlong, right? Which he's like you can say the father of Chinese herbal medicine. You can say that the founder of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. You can say that. Supposedly he's also another enlightened being which lived, 3,000 plus years ago, 5,000 plus years ago, who systematically, started categorizing herbs and plants for their nutritional or medicinal value. Understand? Yeah. Supposedly, so that he recorded, say, which herbs and plants have such and such medicinal, or nutritional value, which plants are poisonous, which plants you shouldn't do, all that stuff. Supposedly, that's what they say. Okay, it doesn't matter. But he also had the mandate, and he also then taught people, how agriculture, farm. You know, how to grow rice, grow whatever. Okay, for food. Okay, so he had, okay, so basically it's these people, and these are all considered leaders of their. Back then they don't have countries; they have tribes or whatever, tribes or their ethnic groups or whatever. Okay, so these are all leaders of their respective, you can say, tribes or that that area. Okay, that location, whatever. Okay, so they pass on. So that's the beginning of the golden thread. Okay, now I'm not going to go through all these because there's too much information. It just know that, okay, the first one of the Green period was Fuxi, second one Sennong, etc. All these, okay. So then there's the Yellow Emperor. That's important to know because now this is around 2700 BC. See, so it's almost 5,000 years ago. He's the one that's considered the first. They say the dynasty, first ruler or whatever. It doesn't matter. But also he's well known. The Yellow Emperor is very famous for discovering the use of compass, by the way, right? I mean, that's one example. I mean, so these are historical figures. Another one is that his wife, his empress, discovered the use of silkworms, right? Believe it or not, yeah. And supposedly he also discovered the use of tea or something. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's okay. All right. So just pass on from one generation to the next. Okay. So if you go, here are all the different timelines, all the way down to. This is the first eight. The first eight, okay. Or sorry, the first 8 or 9. Yeah, it doesn't matter. After Fuxi, I think it's after Fuxi. It's called the first 8 or 9 is called the realm, the period of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. San Huang Wu Di. Okay, that's also known. Okay, and that's part in Chinese history. Okay, but it's very early. Like all these timelines. So it's at least 3 to 5,000 years ago. Okay, all right. There are many famous figures here, but one common thread is that as part of the golden thread, these are all leaders, either kings, emperors, whatever, kings, emperors, monarchs, whatever, sovereigns. Okay. So all this, and then all the way to Jiang Taigong. Okay, to here to the 13th generation. Okay, now after the 13th generation, okay, now then this Tao, you can say the mandate and the lineage of Tao transferred from the rulers, from the class of the rulers or monarchs, etc., of scholars. Okay, so Lao Tzu is considered a scholar. You say because he was a librarian at one time to the Zhou Cao, the Zhou dynasty. Okay, he was a chief librarian or something like that. Okay, anyway, but so he was the founder, the author of what we call the Tao Te Ching, right? Very famous book, right? Teaching, which we know is very marvelous and it has very deep meaning. Okay, the Tao, right? Tao Te Ching talk about the Tao. So those of you who try to read the Tao, will find it has very, very deep meaning because in essence, Lao Tzu was trying to describe the Tao. Or talk about the Tao. Okay, so that was his mandate. That he still continued to teach. So now we have scriptures. The first, you can say, formal, quote unquote, scripture or sutra. You can call it sutra or scripture, right? Okay, to talk about the Tao. Understand? Okay. Now, then that mandate transferred from Lao Tzu to Confucius. All right, that's the next generation. Confucius, we all know, right? He was the chief. Speaker in the Analects, right? He's also known as the Great Sage or the Greatest Sage. Then he passed on his mandate, not Yan Hui, because Yan Hui passed away early, but to Zhenzi, right? Who's the author of the Great Learning, right? Known as the principal or model sage, right? Zhong Shen, right? Zhong Shen, right? And Yan Hui is called a Fu Shen or retaining or restoration stage. Okay, then they pass on Zhenzi, who's the author of the Great Learning, which talks about the Tao too. Once again, okay, so he then passed on the mandate to Zisi, who's the author of the Doctrine of the Ming, right? Doctrine of the Ming, who's also known as the narrative or narration sage. Okay, Su Sen, right? Su Sen means to narrate. Okay, to talk. Okay, then he also happened to be the grandson of Confucius, by the way. Okay, then he passed on the mandate to Mencius. All right, and he's the author of the Book of Mencius. Okay, he's known as Ya Sen, or lesser or minor sage. Okay, all right. Now after that, the mandate no longer stayed in China. It somehow became transferred, okay, to Mahakasyapa. Okay, now how did Mahakasyapa get his mandate? From Sakyamuni Buddha. Get it? Okay, Sakyamuni Buddha, right? Buddha, he became enlightened, remember? Right? So then he took on the mandate from Dipankara, the heavenly mandate, post, sorry, the Tenpan, or the heavenly post. Okay, so he had the mandate, right? Okay, of the heavenly post. And Sakyamuni Buddha, spent 50 years of his life, right? Teaching, right? About the Tao. Well, what we call Buddhism right now, right? Buddhism right now, okay? All the thousands of sutras that's ascribed to him, right? Okay? And in one of his very important period in time, this is later on, this is towards the end of Buddha's life, right? During the period of what we call the Prajna period, okay? The wisdom period. He had, and this is when Buddha was pretty old. Buddha was probably 60-something years old already. No, 70, about 70-something years old. So he was looking for a successor. Among his many disciples, well, he has 10 top disciples. Unfortunately, among his top 10 disciples, 3 of them, all passed away, all died, all passed away. So he couldn't pass on his mandate during that time. So he had one last chance. So he gave what we call the flower sermon, right? The flower sermon. No words, just holding a flower. And Mahakasyapa, one of his top 10 remaining disciples, became enlightened. So he passed on the mandate to him. Okay? And then from then on, it goes through 28 generations of Buddhist patriarchs, masters, okay? To Bodhidharma. Then Bodhidharma passed on to, came to China, returned back to China, and passed on his mandate to the Chinese Buddhist monks, okay? All the way to 6th patriarch right here, who's the incarnation of Siddhigarbha, right? We call him the Buddha of the underworld, okay? All right? Okay, anyway, so from then on, he was instructed by the 5th patriarch to pass on the mandate right here to outside of Buddhism. Okay? Get it? All right, so then so during this red period, we say it's all the mandate resided with scholars and religious leaders, masters. Okay, so after the Huineng, the mandate went to regular people. All right, so then it continued all the way down to our 17th and 18th patriarchs. Okay, and matriarch. These are just regular people. But 17th patriarch we know is the incarnation of Maitreya. The 18th is we know the incarnation of Holy Teacher. And our holy matriarch is, right, Moonlight Wisdom. So then from her, it's very important. It goes on to what? Our grand predecessor. Our grand predecessor was under her. You know that was under her. Came to Taiwan, right? And that's in the Buddha in the Dharma class, right? The lecture of Heaven's Grace and the virtues of the masters. That picks up from here. Right? Picks up, 17th, you can say 17th, because we talk about the white era. So this is the white era, the 17th. And then that's the what? Salvation, universal salvation of the 3 realms. That's the beginning. This is a transmission, you can say the transition from the end of the red to the beginning of the white. Okay? So that's, now, all the predecessors, grand predecessors, transmitters, all that came after her, that's the golden thread. Understand? So that's why. Now, we still have that mandate. Why do we still have the mandate? Because she had the mandate. Understand? Okay, so it's very important, all right? Now, you're going to hear that, there's going to be there's going to be a 19th patriarch. Wrong. Get it? Because there's no more, okay? Okay, so we have to understand, all right? Because 64 is the maximum number, all right? Okay, so I know that there's a lot of information, but the most important thing to remember is that this mandate is still with us. Okay, so this is part of the golden thread, so we should cherish it. Okay, so I know there are a lot of things that I didn't say correctly, and thanks for the Buddhist forgiveness. Thank you.